Imagine discovering that a routine habit you practice every single week in your own kitchen, something you do with the best intentions to be practical, save money, and avoid throwing away food, is quietly and systematically laying the groundwork for one of the deadliest cancers known to medicine, without you having any clue. Does that sound overly dramatic? Unfortunately, it is a sober scientific reality. There is an everyday kitchen routine that hundreds of millions of people repeat on autopilot: reheating leftovers. And the chemical truth about what happens inside four very specific foods the moment heat touches them a second time is something most people will go their entire lives without ever being told. Over the next few minutes, I am going to show you exactly which four common foods are the most hazardous to reheat, the specific toxic compounds they chemically transform into inside your digestive tract, and why that metabolic shift connects directly to a disease with one of the lowest survival rates in modern oncology: pancreatic cancer. My name is Dr. Eduardo Perez Alba. I am sharing this information today because I believe every person who cooks at home deserves to understand the chemistry of their food. And I have sat across from far too many patients receiving a heartbreaking diagnosis who looked at me and asked, "Why did nobody ever warn me about this sooner?" I am done staying quiet. Here is what you need to understand right from the start. Your pancreas never gives you early warning signs. It does not ache when it is under chemical assault. It does not swell up noticeably. It sends zero pain signals while cellular damage silently accumulates across years and decades of repeated toxic exposure. By the time a patient finally develops the first recognizable symptoms of pancreatic cancer, the dull back pain, the yellowing of jaundice, or sudden unexplained weight loss, the malignancy has typically been growing undetected for years. And the 5-year survival rate for pancreatic cancer sits at an alarming 12%. 12%! That is not a disease that offers a second chance once it makes itself known. It is a condition where proactive prevention is not merely your best strategy, it is the only strategy that consistently saves lives. And a significant part of that prevention involves what is sitting in your refrigerator right now, waiting to be reheated for lunch. Before we go through the four specific foods, let me explain what actually happens at the molecular level when food is reheated. Without this scientific foundation, these facts might sound like fear-mongering rather than the hard biochemistry they actually are. When foods are cooked the first time, natural chemical transformations occur. Proteins interact with sugars under heat, nitrogenous compounds bind with amino acids, and dietary fats begin to oxidize. In most fresh meals, the byproducts generated during initial cooking exist in small quantities that a healthy liver and digestive tract can easily neutralize and eliminate. But reheating fundamentally alters that chemical balance. When heat is applied a second time, several destructive reactions occur simultaneously. First, whatever natural antioxidant buffers were present in the fresh meal are further degraded or destroyed, leaving the food without its protective shields. Second, the chemical reactions that created trace carcinogens during initial cooking are accelerated at high speed without those buffers. And third, bacterial activity during cooling and storage has already converted compounds, like nitrates in vegetables, into unstable intermediate chemicals that heat then pushes directly into active carcinogens. The primary class of toxic molecules of greatest concern in cancer research are N-nitroso compounds, commonly known as nitrosamines, along with heterocyclic amines. Both chemical families have been officially classified by the World Health Organization's International Agency for Research on Cancer as probable human carcinogens. Extensive laboratory research has confirmed the potent carcinogenicity of nitroso compounds across multiple organ systems, with direct toxicity to pancreatic tissue. Peer-reviewed epidemiological studies have repeatedly identified dietary nitroso compounds as a major pathway through which chronic food exposure drives pancreatic cancer risk. This is not speculation. It is established biochemistry documented across the medical literature, and it links directly to the four foods we are about to examine. Food number 1, processed meats, specifically reheated processed meats. This is the food category that many people assume they understand, but truly do not. Hot dogs, sausages, bacon, ham, deli slices, and canned meats. Any meat product that has been cured, smoked, or preserved using industrial nitrates and nitrites. These processed meats already contain a significant baseline concentration of nitroso compounds simply from the manufacturing process, because added nitrites react with natural meat proteins during processing to form nitrosamines before the package even leaves the grocery store. When you reheat these meats at home, you are not working with a clean slate. You are applying intense heat to food that already contains verified carcinogens, and heat acts as an aggressive chemical catalyst. Frying leftover sausage or microwaving processed bacon
at high power causes nitrosamine concentrations to multiply rapidly. Scientific reviews investigating dietary mutagens have identified high-temperature cooking of processed meats as a primary source of heterocyclic amines, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, and nitrosamines, all of which act as potent DNA mutagens linked to elevated pancreatic cancer rates. If you choose to consume processed meats, eat them fresh after their first preparation, and never blast them on high heat in the microwave as leftovers. Food number 2. Cooked spinach and other nitrate-dense leafy greens. This one catches people completely off guard because they purchase spinach precisely because it is healthy. They add it to family meals because the nutritional guidance of the past 50 years has been spot on. Fresh spinach is extraordinarily rich in plant iron, folate, essential vitamins, and cellular antioxidants. Yet when they reheat leftover cooked spinach the following day, they strip away that nutritional value while simultaneously sparking the exact chemical reaction they wanted to avoid. Here is the exact biological mechanism. Fresh spinach naturally absorbs inorganic nitrates from the soil, which in raw or freshly cooked greens are entirely harmless and even support healthy cardiovascular blood flow. However, once cooked spinach cools and sits in the refrigerator, ambient bacterial enzymes begin converting those benign nitrates into reactive nitrites. When you reheat that leftover spinach, high heat accelerates that nitrite conversion and forces those nitrites to bind with amino acids in the greens, manufacturing carcinogenic nitrosamines. A study published in the journal Foods specifically warned against storing cooked spinach for extended periods due to this direct nitrate to nitrosamine conversion pathway. The exact same chemistry applies to other nitrate-rich vegetables, including celery, beets, kale, and carrots. Celery is particularly high in natural nitrates, and when it is simmered into large batches of soups and stews that get reheated repeatedly over several days, each heating cycle drives the formation of more nitrosamines. The International Agency for Research on Cancer has confirmed that dietary nitrosamines are established mutagens directly linked to gastrointestinal and pancreatic cancers. The tragic irony is that a vegetable chosen for its longevity benefits transforms under heat into a compound that works against your health. The safest approach is simple. Cook your leafy greens fresh in portions you will finish immediately, and if you have leftover cooked spinach, eat it cold in a salad the next day. Cold temperatures do not drive nitrosamine formation, but heat does. If you've watched this far, you clearly take your health and your family's safety seriously. Most viewers watch these videos and scroll away without subscribing, and then they miss out on critical health warnings in the future. If this information gave you valuable insights today, please take 1 second to tap that subscribe button. It ensures you never miss our upcoming medical deep dives. Food number 3. Previously heated cooking oils and reheated fried foods. Most people have a vague sense that reusing frying oil isn't great, but very few understand the specific chemical toxicity involved or how it connects to cancer development. When polyunsaturated vegetable oils, such as sunflower, corn, soybean, or canola oil, are heated to frying temperatures, a destructive chemical cascade called lipid peroxidation begins. The fragile double bonds in polyunsaturated fats react with atmospheric oxygen and high heat to generate a flood of toxic breakdown products, including aldehydes like acrolein and 4-hydroxynonenal, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, and acrylamide when starches are present. These compounds are severely genotoxic, meaning they inflict direct,
permanent damage on cellular DNA. When you reheat oil or reheat foods cooked in that oil, the peroxidation process resumes right where it left off, compounding the chemical damage with each exposure to heat. An oil's smoke point drops with every heating cycle, meaning it reaches its toxic breakdown threshold much faster and at lower temperatures. The International Agency for Research on Cancer classifies multiple compounds produced by oil degradation, including acrylamide and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, as probable human carcinogens, with scientific research confirming that cooking temperature and duration directly dictate the concentration of these mutagens. Reheating fried foods like French fries or fried chicken in a microwave creates an added hazard. Microwave radiation creates uneven surface hotspots that scorch the residual oil at microscopic levels. These scorched microzones produce the highest concentrations of toxic aldehydes and heterocyclic amines, even if the food doesn't look visibly burnt to the naked eye. The safest strategy is unequivocal. Never reuse cooking oil and avoid reheating fried foods. If you eat fried food, consume it immediately after its initial cooking. If you must reheat it, use a conventional oven at a moderate temperature to warm it evenly without creating scorched oil hotspots, and always discard used cooking oil after a single use. Food number 4, cooked rice. This food differs from the first three in an important way. The danger from reheated rice is not primarily a direct chemical carcinogen, but rather a heat-resistant bacterial toxin that fuels chronic gastrointestinal inflammation, a primary physiological driver of digestive tract cancers over long-term exposure. When rice is cooked, the heat activates dormant spores of a bacterium called Bacillus cereus, which naturally survive the boiling process. If cooked rice is left cooling at room temperature on the kitchen counter, these bacteria multiply rapidly and produce powerful enterotoxins. The critical danger that most people do not realize is that while microwave or stovetop reheating easily kills the live bacteria, the enterotoxins they already produced are heat stable. They survive high microwave heat completely intact, remaining active in the food. In the short term, these toxins trigger acute food poisoning, with vomiting and severe cramps. But over the long term, repeated weekly exposure to low levels of these bacterial toxins creates chronic, low-grade intestinal inflammation. Clinical oncology has conclusively established that chronic inflammation of the digestive lining causes cumulative cellular damage, creating the exact inflammatory environment in which malignant cells develop. The safety protocol for rice is precise and non-negotiable. Once cooked, cool leftover rice quickly and place it in the refrigerator within 1 hour to stop bacterial multiplication. Keep it stored for no more than 24 hours, and when reheating, heat it thoroughly until it is steaming hot throughout, and never reheat rice a second time. Better yet, cook rice in smaller portions so there is little left over, eliminating the risk entirely. Let us bring these facts together into a clear, actionable summary. 4 everyday foods, 4 distinct biological mechanisms, and 1 unifying principle. Reheated, processed meats generate nitrosamines that directly elevate pancreatic cancer risk. Reheated spinach and leafy greens convert natural nitrates into nitrites and carcinogenic nitrosamines. Reheated cooking oils and fried foods produce genotoxic aldehydes and PAHs that damage DNA. And improperly stored, reheated rice delivers heat-stable bacterial toxins that drive chronic gut inflammation. Protecting your health does not require you to stop enjoying food. It simply requires 4 basic kitchen habits. Never reheat processed meats on high heat. Eat leftover cooked greens cold in salads rather than reheating them. Discard used frying oil and avoid reheating fried foods. And cool leftover rice quickly, refrigerating it within an hour and reheating it only once. These 4 adjustments dramatically cut your dietary exposure to the exact chemical mutagens oncologists associate with aggressive gastrointestinal and pancreatic cancers. Tell me in the comments below, which of these 4 foods surprised you the most? Your responses help me understand where public health education is needed most. If this video gave you valuable insights that will change how you prepare meals this week, please share it with a friend or family member who routinely reheats their meals without knowing the underlying chemistry. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for more honest, evidence-based conversations about food science and longevity. Next week, we will be covering 5 popular breakfast foods that are heavily marketed as healthy, but are clinically shown to accelerate metabolic damage, especially in adults over 60. Finally, a brief medical reminder. Everything shared today is based on published nutritional biochemistry and food safety research from international cancer organizations. This video provides educational information and is not a substitute for individualized medical advice. Cancer is biologically complex, and personal risk depends on many clinical factors unique to you, so always discuss specific health concerns with your physician. I am Dr. Eduardo Perez Alba. Protect your long-term health with the vital facts your kitchen never came with, and I will see you in the next video.